Hi, it's Thursday. Welcome. Yes, I can see my Instagram is struggling again, so you are going to have to bear with me again. I've just got to try and get Insta to go live at the same time as Facebook. At the moment, that seems tricky. I wonder what's going on. Mr. Zuckerberg, please can you help us? So today we are live again with an amazing episode with probably one of my all-time favorite oils. It's one of those ones that is just incredible. There's no other way to describe this oil. So yay, Instagram has gone live. Welcome. Glad you could join us, Instagram. So welcome. It's Thursday, 12 noon. My name is Tanya Jooste. Dr. T, as some people call me. It's one of those nicknames that just stuck from varsity days, I guess. It is quite fun, I've got to say. I do enjoy the laughter that usually comes after that, because who thought I would have gotten there in real life, right? So let's get started today. I come live from my Botanicamy Alchemy of Soothing Botanic Ingredients page every single Thursday. And the reason I do that is because I'm so incredibly passionate about teaching people how to use their essential oils and what they can be used for and how to use them safely. So this week, oh wonderful, I can see Janine's just logged in. Welcome, welcome. Anne Marie from Art Accent, welcome, great to have you. Even Catherine, she's on Insta. Welcome, welcome. EOS Bloy. Oh, I've forgotten who that is again. Please go pop in the comments what your name is, please, on that page, because that's actually quite a nice name as well. Oh, I love all the hearts coming through. Hello, Jill. Nice having you on. Janine, also great to have you on today. So we even have Rebecca Fisher. She's just also logged in. Welcome, welcome. So yeah, let's get started. Copaiba. How many more ways are we going to find to say this name of this incredible tree? So it's one of my favorites just because it supports so many systems in our body. There's quite a few essential oil brands that have actually brought out this essential oil now. I think what sets the company that I buy mine from apart from most of the rest is that obviously we have safety and quality testing on our oils, and we have a batch code on the bottom of each bottle. Where is my bottle? There we go. And then right at the bottom, there's a batch code that you can go and type into a website called source2you.com. And that'll bring up the MSGS certificate, which shows you exactly what's inside that oil. And that's very exciting for me because our essential oil, called Copaiba, actually, they call it just the Copaiba essential oil on the bottle itself. They don't say the specific species name, and that's there's a special reason for that. Our favorite brand actually uses the Copaiba from 4 different species of the Copaiba. So it's going to come from the reticulata, the officinalis, coriaceae, as well as Langsdorffii. And the reason why is they want to get that chemical constituent ratio. So the chemistry of our Copaiba oil is incredibly special. Because of the constituents that are in there and because they're coming from different trees, it also assists with the sustainability. So before we get into the nitty-gritty of why I really, really love this oil and why it's one of those that I probably use in my household every single day, the reason why the sustainability is so close to my heart is there's a lot of these trees that are being exploited. So for example, a company would go into a specific region, wherever a plant is growing, and they would have a broker that would then go and source these distilled oils from the farmers, for example. But what becomes quite heartbreaking is when they go into an area and they start over-exploiting. In other words, over-tapping when we're looking at a resin, because this is exactly what Copaiba comes from, right? It's the tree that's cut, and then that resin, that sap that comes from the tree. The essential oil is distilled from that resin. And the Copaiba tree is very special. No matter which species you're looking at, those trees that grow up to 30 to 40 meters tall in the Amazonian forests have to grow for 30 minimum, so 30 to 50 years before they're large enough for you to tap them without you killing them. So very special trees. You can only reach them for certain months of the year when the water levels are actually quite high. So you can reach it by boat, otherwise you can't even get to the trees. So please make sure, whoever you are purchasing your Copaiba from, that it's coming from a sustainable source, because our jobs is to really look after the earth. And if you're using products from the earth but they're not from a sustainable source, you're definitely contributing to the problem. Let's be part of the solution. I can see that Alka's just logged in from the Netherlands as well. Welcome, welcome. There's definitely more people on my Facebook page today. I just can't see who's on there. So if you want your name mentioned, go give me a shout out. Just say hello in the comments. Maybe just type Copaiba. There we go. If you don't want to say who you are, you don't want to just say hi, just type Copaiba. And then I can see you there. Artak saying yes. Maria's saying she only ever uses sustainable sources, and I can definitely say that. She makes the most amazing artistic hand soaps that are really good for very sensitive skins, but she's so over the top with the sustainable sources that even the wrapping, the cellophane wrapping that the soap comes in, is biodegradable, and it comes in these biodegradable packets. So go check her out. She's got really amazing stuff. But there's a lot of us that feel we need to contribute in a sustainable manner to the earth as well and give back. So definitely make sure that the Copaiba. You're from Belgium, Alka. I really did think you were staying in the Netherlands. Why did I think that? Apologies. Oh, that is quite embarrassing. Sorry about that. Now I'll know. Next time I will say, welcome, Alka, all the way from Belgium. There we go. So let's get started with our Copaiba session. It's going to probably be a little bit longer than normal because there's just so many amazing attributes to this essential oil. Oh, yay, Daniel's also in all the way from the UK. Welcome. So now you know our Copaiba essential oil comes from 4 different species so that we can have a blend which has got really good chemistry to support our bodies, and we can use our specific one internally. We can use it aromatically, of course, and then topically, because it's a very safe essential oil, because it's pure and it's steam distilled. So it's one of those ones that are going to be really useful in your home. So let's start looking at why it's so incredibly useful. If we go a little bit into the history, South Americans have used Copaiba resin to promote the health of respiratory, digestive, urinary, cardiovascular, and even their immune systems. And it was reported firstly by the European settlers of Central and South America that the indigenous American Indians utilized the soothing properties of Copaiba oil or resin by applying it both to their newborns but also to their warriors who were coming home from battle. Almost like the Indian cultures use frankincense, especially when they've had a new birth, right? So you can see that there's quite a lot of, both of them are resins from trees. They have got really powerful emotional sort of supporting benefits, and trees are always very grounding, right? So really good to have that, but also have very good antiseptic and antibacterial properties, both of them, frankincense and Copaiba. And I find that quite interesting, that both these cultures use these oils so extensively, especially when there's been a new birth. Recent research is obviously a little bit more up our alley, and one of the main chemical constituents in Copaiba is, of course, the beta-caryophyllene, which we also find in black pepper. And there's quite a lot of scientific studies, and when I say quite a lot, hundreds, if not thousands, of studies talking about beta-caryophyllene and what it's doing inside our bodies. So it can support our overall health, and especially when we start taking it internally, caryophyllene possesses very strong antioxidant properties. So you can already start understanding why we do find Copaiba very beneficial in supporting our immune systems, for example. Sandra Gwavender, I can see you've just also logged in. Thank you for saying hi. So welcome to you. Very, it's awesome to have so many people on today coming to learn about Copaiba. So very high in antioxidant properties, but also really good in promoting healthy cellular function, may help support immune function and circulatory health. So think all of our veins and our sort of areas where the blood moves in the body. It may also support the health of our gastrointestinal tract and colon. So this is definitely probably why I use mine so often, because you all know that gut health is my absolute passion, and I do anything and everything to support good gut health on a daily basis, because I really do believe, especially in my body, that if I don't look after my gut health, it really affects my mood as well as my immune system. And I think that's quite an important one to look into right now, especially if you consider what's going on internationally with our global environmental threat. There's a lot of additional research that is also now showing Copaiba, with all of its additional constituents, it's not just the beta-caryophyllene, may help keep the mouth, the teeth, the gums clean and healthy looking. And just by the way, I went to the dental hygienist yesterday, probably the first time in about 2.5 years. I know it's been way too long, but when I was supposed to go, then COVID hit, and then we were all staying home, and then it was just a little bit tricky. So I finally went yesterday, and she was so super impressed. She couldn't believe at how good someone's mouth could look after such a long time of not seeing her. And I guess it's because I'm using a lot more natural methods, and I'm using my essential oils to support good gum health, good teeth health. And Copaiba is definitely one of those that I do include into my beauty routine on a daily basis. And it's not just beauty, it's self-care, because you're actually really supporting your gums and your teeth as well. Topically, and this is probably where most people already know Copaiba really well. A lot of people apply it topically because it helps to keep the skin clear, and it may also help to reduce the appearance of blemishes. So it's a really good one to include in your facial skin cream every single day, and when there's slight discolorations, for example. But because of its antibacterial properties, also really beneficial for supporting a good microbiome on your skin, so that you've got really good barrier support, in other words, right? So that there's no, when you, for example, get a cut or something like that, so that the good guys are there immediately to start supporting, so that you don't get an unnecessary infection, for example. And I think the biggest reason why Copaiba is so incredible in supporting so many different systems in our body is because of the fact that it binds directly to the CB2 receptors in our body. So it has to do with the endocannabinoid pathways and systems. And that's really exciting to me, because here we have a standardized essential oil, which is really supportive to our bodies, and especially when you're using a tested grade essential oils that you have lab results for. Oh, I can see Rebecca is also just logged in. Welcome. Basically, Lizanne, thank you for logging in. You're already starting to share the information, so really awesome. She's already starting to tag people, which is really cool. But basically, where the CB2 receptors are involved, if you think of where they are situated in our body, it's mainly the immune system. So this is going to be, you find them very prevalent on our T cells, that's part of the immune system, our macrophages, our B cells. So that's where the CB2 receptors sit. There's obviously in other parts of the body as well, but that's probably where they are the most prevalent. And when those receptors are activated, what they're very heavily involved in, one of the top functions, is of course the cytokine release, a healthy inflammatory response, and your immune system. That's what all those cells are for. So Copaiba is incredibly supportive to the immune system and having a healthy inflammatory response. And because of that healthy inflammatory response, there's a lot of research also going into specifically cells that start dividing uncontrollably, that don't go through the cell cycle like they should, and then die. They don't go through that. Remember those ones that start replicating uncontrollably? We need to find something that can repair that, because that's actually not normal. And there's a lot of research with Copaiba going specifically into those kind of cell lines to try and see why it really helps for those kinds of conditions. So when you think about how many systems in your body rely on a healthy inflammatory response, you can understand why Copaiba is so incredibly beneficial. Hi Ruthie, I can see you've also just logged in. Welcome. Oh, and Bev. Couldn't have a live without Bev being on IGE. So welcome on Instagram as well there, Bev. Good to see you. So if we look specifically at the top uses, it's going to be related to all of the areas where a healthy inflammatory response is needed. but also with regards to our immune systems, especially. And then, of course, our skin health. So our integumentary system is going to have a lot of beneficial support from Copaiba. So the top properties are, of course, anti-inflammatory, because it helps a healthy inflammatory response. Even has analgesic properties, and I use this quite often because I've got so many injuries through the years of ballet. In my body, and especially now because it's a little bit colder in the mornings, a little bit more stiff, especially in the joint areas and those kind of things. And Copaiba applied then topically is really beneficial. It's got antifungal properties, it's got antibacterial properties, and incredible when used internally for the antioxidant support, and also even when you're trying to soothe anxious feelings. So it's also a carminative. So here, thinking, for example, about the digestive system that needs to be calmed down, or needs support in that area, or even muscle spasming. So definitely an absolutely amazing essential oil. So let's first look at the skin scenario. That's what Copaiba is most well known for. Very good for especially supporting aging skin, and it supports a healthy collagen production. So there's another really good reason to be including it into your beauty routine every single day, especially since if you're starting to age a little bit. It's also really beneficial for your hair and your skin, especially when you've got drier skin. And because we're going into winter now in South Africa, this is definitely going to be a beneficial oil to be including when you need a little bit of additional lubrication. Also because it is so calming to the skin, and it has got that healthy anti-inflammatory response connected to it. Think about when your skin, for example, becomes irritated with something. So for minor skin irritations, Copaiba, especially when you combine it with something like cedarwood, is a really, really good essential oil to try. I can see Irma's also just logged in. Welcome. Good to have you on today. When you have minor sort of skin itching, for example, when you've got sprains and bruises and those kind of things, or even blisters, because of all the skin supporting benefits that the Copaiba has, you're definitely going to be able to include it to support there. Then we also, because of the antibacterial and the antifungal properties, it's going to be really good, for example, for assisting and supporting good wound healing. And when you have got infections, supporting the immune system in that manner, because the CB2 receptors are everywhere in the immune system. So we need to get those activated. We need to get the receptors activated to support the immune system, and especially to have a healthy cytokine release. So that's part of the inflammatory process. Alison is also saying she's using her Copaiba daily, and she's saying it's helping her and her family on a daily basis. She almost can't live without it. So that's really cool. Thanks for sharing, Alison. I really appreciate that. All right, so the next thing we want to also look at is because of the inflammatory response, just think about discomfort in your body. So you can then, for example, either be using this oil internally on a maintenance dose every single day, or you can be applying it topically to the area where you are feeling discomfort. I definitely use the Copaiba topically, but I also use it internally as well. Because it's not only good for the oral hygiene, obviously, it's really good for good cellular health when you're using it internally too. All right, and then if we also look at the skin thing, just before we move away from that, Copaiba actually has got some chemical constituents in there, which we call drivers. So what it basically does, it supports better penetration of that transdermal layer. So Copaiba is definitely one of those that when you're starting to make your own blends, it's a good idea to add Copaiba, because then it's just going to support increased penetration of the essential oil blend, and it's probably going to have a sort of a stronger, a more potent and desired effect when you are going to be applying it topically. Because of the analgesic benefits, definitely an essential oil to try if you're someone that suffers from head tensions, for example, or even those where your head becomes a little bit pulsating, for example, when you're seeing the flashy lights, those kind of things, definitely supportive for that. And then any kind of area in your body where there's a little bit of tenderness, so in your elbows, for example, or in your finger joints, wrists do really well, ankles, They all do really well with specifically the Copaiba essential oil. I know at some stage, it was probably about a year and a half ago, I had gone to a function where I stepped like a little bit skew, and I think my knee turned a little bit in the wrong way. And what basically happened is it wasn't a serious injury or something, but it was one of those that was just niggly. So I would definitely, when I was in certain positions in yoga, I would definitely feel my knee. And this is definitely one of those that I apply topically, and then the discomfort would subside within a couple of minutes. So Copaiba is very, very good for that. Maria's also saying her heels. Yes, it's one of those that, you know, when you start walking, and sometimes this is usually, or not sometimes, I think it's a lot of the times, it's usually connected to the way that you walk either, or the type of shoes that you're wearing. So if the shoes, for example, are not cushioned enough specifically for the build of your body, because we are all unique, and you're pressing too hard, especially for runners, they suffer from this quite a lot, where there's like these shooting pains going up when you hit the floor. So definitely applying it to the heel area can bring a lot of relief to that kind of discomfort. And then intestinally, really, really good. So very supportive because of the healthy inflammatory response. It's very supportive for the digestive tract. So definitely an essential oil when you are suffering with certain conditions where you need a little bit of extra support with your gut. Copaiba is definitely going to be one to try. And something that I learned this morning as well is Copaiba is also really good for the respiratory tract. So you can even be putting it into a diffuser. I know there's a lot of research where Copaiba, again, applied with other oils in diffuser blends, it fixes them. It's called a fixative because it's more base, it's more resiny, so it actually makes the fragrance last for longer. But it really is a beneficial essential oil to be inhaling as well, because you are going to be accessing the limbic brain through the olfactory nerve sensors. So definitely a good essential oil aromatically as well. And here's one that I didn't know about, which I actually, when I was doing my research this morning, discovered. There's an oil that we all use, especially when there's children who are a little bit more prone to bedwetting, and we usually use cypress for that. Well, I learned this morning that Copaiba is incredibly supportive to sort of try and make that particular issue less frequent as well. So Copaiba is definitely another oil that you can try if you are in the area of incontinence, for example, or of bedwetting. So who knew that Copaiba was so incredibly amazing for specifically the physical attributes of our body? I've been using it quite often. I use it especially when I have to need to soothe occasional anxious feelings. I find that really supportive to me specifically. But I think the Copaiba itself emotionally also has quite a lot of benefits, specifically when you start looking at the beta-caryophyllene and the sesquiterpenes that are in there. And what they say generally is that it can move you from feeling plagued to directed. So plagued in a sense where it's almost, I wouldn't say overwhelmed, but something is really like on your mind, and like it's like, you know, like the plague sitting there and you sort of can't get rid of this, like that feeling, right? And you need to be directed and have a focus and move on. Copaiba is definitely an essential oil that can help out there. So yeah, aromatically very powerful, topically incredible for your skin, really supportive for facial skin, for the rest of your body, and then also internally it's going to be supporting a very large amount of the systems in your body, because it goes and binds directly to those CB2 receptors, which has got a lot of beneficial supportive effects in your body. So hopefully there's a lot of additional information in there for you today. I didn't have that many recipes. Actually, I just want to grab my one book here, because I may actually have one recipe for you. Can't have a class without a recipe now, can we? Let's actually just check if we can find something delicious for you in here. I don't necessarily make recipes as such, but I do add, for example, my Copaiba to my facial cream in the morning together with my frankincense, which is also really beneficial for my skin, those fine lines and wrinkles. and skin discolorations. I add it to my diffuser very often, and as I say, I actually like to put 2 drops underneath my tongue. Not only good for the mouth, but really I find placing it under my tongue is really supportive for when I've got discomfort in my body, feeling discomfort, but not only physically, when I'm feeling it emotionally as well. There we go. So if we can have, let's give you a discomfort recipe. So for those of you that would like a pain away or discomfort away, should we call it discomfort rather, for compliance? in the comments, please go and write for me in the comments if you want this cream. Oh my goodness, it's very basic, it's so simple. Just go and write discomfort in the comments, and then I'm going to be sending this recipe to your phone specifically. And that's when you're feeling discomfort, so in muscle areas, for example, or in different parts of your body, joints, those kind of scenarios. Please put in the comments for me discomfort, and I'm going to be sending this recipe to you. So it's combining Copaiba, 15 drops of, together with a soothing blend which is specifically made for discomfort. So it's got blue tansy in it, helichrysum, for example, wintergreen. So it's one that's specifically also beneficial in supporting discomfort in your joints and your muscular areas. So you're combining 15 drops of each of those, the soothing blend and the Copaiba, and then you're applying that to your body with either a carrier oil or with a coconut oil. I just want to make notes here again, because Insta is not as awesome in a sense where it doesn't keep the comments after a live, so I just need to check who I need to send this recipe to. There we go. On the Instagram, the Facebook keeps it, which is really great. So the discomfort blend is there going to be a combination of the Copaiba and the soothing blend, but I will let you know exactly what carrier to put it in and different ones to try, for example. So if you want that recipe, just put discomfort into the comments and I will get that to you as soon as possible. I can see that Razia has just asked a question. Oh my goodness, the comments are almost gone. There's so many comments coming through. It's really awesome. Razia, that's a long comment, so I'm just going to read the entire one after the live, right? But I am guessing that you're asking about discomfort in your thumb. So this recipe is going to be very supportive, so I'll be sending that to you as well. I just want to check. Yes, there's just a lot of discomforts coming through, so not specifically other questions. So yes, thank you for joining me today. Remember that the beta-caryophyllene is probably the main component, but there's a lot of distinct chemistry in Copaiba which is not found in other essential oils. And I think that is why it is so incredibly supportive compared to, for example, black pepper, which is also high in beta-caryophyllene, but doesn't have the chemistry that the rest or that Copaiba has in it. So it's very supportive essential oil, but because of that caryophyllene, it's very good at unveiling the falseness in shame and guilt. That's another one on the emotional side to look into. So definitely that plague that I was talking, you know, that when something is just, it's like it's there, don't necessarily, what is it? Why am I feeling a little bit restless? It's worrying me. Copaiba is going to be really supportive for that. So awesome. Thank you to all of you that joined me today. It was a fun class. I really love this essential oil. It's one of my absolute favorites because, hey, it just works for almost everything, right? It's incredibly supportive. So thank you for joining. I will see you all next week, Thursday. And I know the singles are running low. We've almost reached the end of the series. But it's quite exciting because that means we can start moving into blends soon. So please keep on checking back here on a Thursday at 12 noon. It's my regular slot where I teach you a little bit more about essential oils. So thank you for joining, and I will see you all next week. Bye-bye.